Cody Brown sat alone himself in the expansive rental property in Flagstaff that had previously been the crown jewel of his empire, now empty and resonating with absence. Once adorned with framed fixtures and the sounds of kids laughing, the walls were now empty. Quiet, there was dust on the window panes. 2 weeks prior, Robyn had departed, not with a shout or a brawl, but with suitcases packed quietly in the night and a note that said, quite simply, "You never needed me as much as they do." Cody gripped the note tightly. Silence was unfamiliar to him. He had spent decades surrounded by chaos. Movie schedules, birthday celebrations, wives whispering in corners, and children coming and going like the waves. There was nothing now. Only his own image, a face tattered by ego and years of evading responsibility, was staring back at him through the glass of the dim TV screen. However, the quiet wasn't spontaneous. They called for it. It was not Gabriel Brown's intention to ignite a fire. Fires, however, don't seek for permission. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. When the air is sufficiently dry, they burn. Gabriel had been adrift since Garrison's death, a trauma that still echoes in his bones. No guidance, no father, no therapy. Just a brewing anger that has turned into a gloom. It was Janelle who came up with the podcast. A location to talk? For us all, she murmured. In her living room, she had a banner, a laptop, and a cheap microphone. However, it was like a dam burst as Gabriel sat in front of that microphone. He was not angry. He didn't yell. He was honest. How his holiday phone calls to Cody were unanswered. How his texts were left to read on the anniversary of Garrison's passing. He once spent 3 hours watching his mother cry while Cody shared selfies from Sedona with Robyn. Downloads of the episode The Invisible Son skyrocketed. However, Solomon's subdued voice was what made it famous. Solomon had never made a public statement. He had been the brightest thread in Cody's tapestry as one of Robyn's younger children, the naive, the adored, the one who got the best version of their father. Best, however, depends on the situation. There was stillness at the start of Solomon's program. Growing up in the spotlight, the audience heard him inhale deeply, then another. Then he advised me to keep mom's panic attacks to myself, claimed it would give us a broken appearance. An incredible moment. He went on, shaking, to describe how Robyn would shut herself in the bedroom for hours or even days while season 15 was being filmed. The children would hear Cody say she was resting. Solomon, however, had overheard the crying, the shattered glass, the appeal, and he became really upset when I once tried to discuss it with him. I was devoted to the family, he said. However, he just minted him. The internet took off. Cody Brown's reputation as the oddball polygamous father was destroyed. Overnight, the show's reputation changed, becoming a warning about narcissism, spiritual manipulation, and broken children who were silenced for the sake of ratings. Curated grace, a gentle voice, a kind smile, and tears when necessary had been the foundation of Robyn's universe. She had, however, lived in a cage of gold behind the scenes. Her loyalty had been weaponized by Cody, who isolated her from the other spouses and used her to support his story of togetherness. She went into a tailspin after Solomon's podcast. It was initially seen by the children. Most nights, Aurora had to prepare the food. Brianna stopped throwing parties for her pals, muttering to herself and apologizing to no one. Robyn wandered the house in a haze. Encouraged by her adult children, she started therapy. During her initial session, she admitted, "I believed that loving him meant defending him. However, I was simply keeping myself and everyone else silent." And now, the therapist inquired. Robyn blinked. She didn't have a prepared response for the first time in decades. "Now, I think I was protecting a monster. Always the practical one." Janelle knew what momentum was. Knowing that the webcast would be popular, she scheduled it for a Sunday night. She rented a plain, uncluttered, and inconspicuous studio space in Utah. A circle of chairs was arranged. No cosmetics, no lighting crew. Pure vulnerability. The guests? Savannah and Gabriel, Aurora, Solomon, Brianna, Dayton too, who hadn't communicated with Cody for 3 years. Janelle in the middle. 40,000 people watched the stream live when it started. It had risen to 2 million by the hour. Voice recordings of Cody scolding him for public betrayal were shared by Gabriel. Reading from a boyhood journal, Solomon described his fear of being a bad son if he spoke the truth. "Don't exaggerate." Cody texted Aurora as she sobbed as she recalled helping her mother through a breakdown. "Like your mother, you're dramatic." At the last second, Dayton remarked in a low, flat voice, "He didn't think I had autism." said that I was apologizing. He said that if I wasn't average, no one would love me. The conversation erupted. Comments were flooding in. I think you're real. This is mistreatment. You're not by yourself. A banner showed up on the screen when the stream came to an end. Kody attempted to defend himself. He engaged a public relations firm, changed the name of his Instagram account to The Father's Journey, uploaded videos of himself trekking while discussing forgiveness and misunderstandings. However, the harm had already been done. He was dropped by sponsors. For the upcoming season, TLC froze. Content warnings were applied to older episodes. Every manipulative strategy he employed, including financial control, emotional gaslighting, and triangulation, was examined in Reddit discussions. The women were gone, Kody thought as he stared at a cold cup of coffee in a rented Flagstaff cabin. The children would not return, and the world had stopped paying attention. A movement was born out of Janelle's show. She established the Voices Uncaged Foundation to provide assistance to kids from strict religious households. Solomon spoke during the event. Aurora posted on her blog. Mary, who has long been silent and disregarded, even shared a poem called I Stayed Too Long that went viral. Robyn started filming a documentary in silence. There was no drama. It wasn't vindictive. It was truthful. She was sitting on a simple couch without makeup and wearing a simple tee. The camera rolled. She added, in an attempt to make him feel like a man, I lost myself. To maintain a falsehood, I allowed him to harm my kids. I'm so sorry. However, I'm no longer mute. Kody's legacy was no longer the Brown name. It evolved into a warning story, a beacon of survival, and a symbol of restoration. Once chess pieces in a patriarch's game, the kids now recount stories. After being stifled, the ladies' voices gained strength and knowledge. What about Kody? He was reduced to a footnote. Truth has finally calmed a once raging storm. And there's more. Janelle Brown has shown a completely different side in Sister Wives Season 19, and now that she has left the family homestead, sold her Coyote Pass parcel, and begun pursuing her dream of owning a flower farm, I will be closely monitoring her next steps to see what she will be doing next. The past several years have been extremely difficult for Janelle, who was married to Cody Brown for more than 30 years. Janelle has been working on herself, but she has recently been facing some challenges in her life. Despite the fact that Sister Wives Season 19 has shown a previously undiscovered aspect of Janelle, her resilience in the face of adversity is astounding. It has been amazing to witness Janelle's resilience during her struggles with Kody and Robyn Brown, as well as her capacity to include Christine and Mary Brown when necessary. Although I am aware that Janelle has been battling and rebuilding her life as a result, I am unsure of what lies ahead for the Sister Wives actress following yet another personal tragedy. Sister Wives watchers were somewhat taken aback by Janelle's transfer to North Carolina, despite the fact that she has been open about how she has been spending her life in recent months. The death of her son Garrison Brown pushed Janelle to take action toward achieving her goals, even though she had been hoped to spend more time with her children and grandchildren. Janelle moved swiftly and made it apparent that she was prepared to leap at any time to be nearer to her family. The Brown family as a whole undoubtedly underwent some shift with Janelle's relocation to North Carolina. The family has been gradually disintegrating over the past few years as they have navigated the challenging times together and apart, splintering away from one another. Even though they are still somewhat of a family, Janelle's children come first, and she no longer gives much thought to Kody or the other ex-sister wives. With her departure to North Carolina and her recent remarks about Flagstaff, Janelle has truly removed herself from the family conflict, even if she has always been more of an outsider. Janelle revealed that she was prepared to leave the area where she had so intensely struggled and made a last trip to the family's Arizona city to retrieve possessions she had in a storage unit. Janelle started her negativity detox in early 2025, and it seems that part of it involves removing yourself from the family conflict. Though she hasn't been forthcoming about her future plans, Janelle has stated that her new house and expanding family would be her top priority in the upcoming year. The most important thing to monitor, in my opinion, is what Janelle does next, even though I've been closely following her move and her future plans in recent months. Despite her willingness to film Sister Wives in North Carolina, Janelle's decision to remain in her hometown may indicate that she has no intention of returning for the show's future. I can't help but worry what twist might occur next after witnessing the Coyote Pass drama play out on Sister Wives. Viewers have experienced a range of emotions throughout the Brown family's trip, but the conflict around their land, Coyote Pass, has been especially real and challenging. What was first portrayed as the family's new beginning has turned into a battlefield of unfulfilled promises, unsaid grudges, and widening gaps. The idea of constructing on jointly owned land has devolved into a heartbreaking reminder of how strained relations have gotten between Cody Brown and his divorced wives. The once cohesive face put up by the Brown family has fallen apart as Christine Brown, Janelle Brown, and Mary Brown are pursuing other endeavors. Even though Robyn Browns and Kody are still monogamous, the emotional repercussions has persisted and created serious problems for the entire family. If the Coyote Pass saga in Sister Wives Season 19 demonstrated anything, it was that unsolved issues tend to resurface, frequently at the most inconvenient moments. I'm interested in what will happen next because it seems like Sister Wives have nowhere to go while Coyote Pass final selling details are out. Sister Wives has been gradually revealing the drama surrounding Coyote Pass and filling in the land's specifics over the past few seasons. The Brown family seems to be aware that there hasn't been any drama there until more lately, even if the plot has been evolving. Janelle and Christine looked more concerned before things changed for the family, even though Kody, Mary, and Robyn all seemed to have an interest in how things were going for the farm. Something soon changed when it became apparent that Christine, Janelle, and Mary's marriages to Kody were failing. As time passed, the land that Kody and his wives had invested in started to dominate their marriages and divorces. It became evident throughout the course of the previous few seasons that Kody's investment in the property was significant, but what was even more significant were the investments made by Janelle, Mary, and Christine. Christine returned her share of the farm after she split from Kody at the end of Sister Wives Season 17, but Janelle and Mary were still heavily involved with the property when they decided to break up their connection with Kody, which has led to serious problems. Despite Kody's typically unfavorable reaction, his discussions regarding Coyote Pass have performed remarkably well for viewers during the most recent seasons of Sister Wives. In some respects, Kody has made it apparent that the land is a greater concern for him than his divorces and the associated sense of betrayal. It is tragic for him to not have Coyote Pass now after he and his family bought it and went through the process of building it up. It might be daunting to observe Kody's conflicted feelings regarding the land at times. Following their separation, Christine gave Kody back her property holdings, leaving Janelle and Mary to manage the family's affairs going forward. Having previously spoken candidly about financial difficulties, Janelle has been able to correctly describe the problems she has had with Coyote Pass over the years. Given how much money she invested in the land to help build it up, Janelle has made it obvious that she has found it difficult to deal with the way Coyote Pass has been split. Since her significant investment, Janelle's financial burden has increased. Mary hasn't been as outspoken about her region as Janelle has been about the ugly business of Coyote Pass. Despite her best efforts to keep her distance from Kody throughout the current season, the Sister Wives actress is furious after discovering more about how he has allocated the land. In contrast to previous episodes when Mary has always shown her loyalty, the second half of Sister Wives Season 19 seems to indicate that she will be joining the fight against Kody and Coyote Pass. Now that Janelle and Mary have both sold their properties, Sister Wives Season 19 will probably finally reach the conclusion of the Coyote Pass story, leaving space for something fresh. I know that things are simmering even though I'm not sure if I want to see more drama between the Brown family members. I believe that Sister Wives might be coming to an end now that the land has been sold and the family has financially separated from one another. In any case, Coyote Pass will give way to something else spectacular. When Sister Wives star Cody Brown reorganized the ownership of the Brown family's Coyote Pass property, giving Janelle and Mary Brown larger shares before it was sold, he seemed like the epitome of chivalry. But as I thought about his gentlemanly behavior, I noticed something that bothered me. Christine Brown received nothing at all. Yes, in order to move on from the entire situation, Christine gave back her shares of Coyote Pass a long time ago. But more than anybody else, she contributed to the creation of that family. Christine looked after the kids, as most Sister Wives fans are likely aware. She was and still is the best housewife. It's difficult at every stage, as anyone who has worked with children knows. Parents are exhausted by more than simply infants and toddlers. The dynamics of older children are different. They have stronger personalities and need financial and emotional assistance because their lives are more complex. She was the nurturer for decades. She was a kind and caring person who was always there to make the Brown children feel good about themselves. The whole family devoured Christine's delicious baked treats and the meals she served. Everyone loved the cozy house she kept so clean. Christine is a lively individual who ensured that kids were engaged and full of life. By being there for them so much, she contributed to the development of their personalities. Although the other Browns also had children, it might be claimed that Christine's contributions were invaluable. In fact, she was the den mother. It would make sense for Kody to recognize this by giving Christine a portion of the land or even some cash once he sold it. Maybe Kody should have asked Kristen if she wanted a piece of the land, but he didn't. Although the others were helpful, Kristen was actually performing some of the most crucial tasks. It speaks a lot that her own kids are so loyal to her. Hayden Brown loves his mother, but because of his constant feuding, he can be a grumpy character both on and off screen. Since he obviously feels totally protected and loved with his mother, the rambunctious son who is estranged from Kody calms around her. I may not have been right to judge Kody, who hasn't made mistakes and sinned. I've been reconsidering my opinions lately and considering his point of view. Yes, he has had his moments, but he showed me something new, something I could truly respect. When he made the decision to offer his ex-partners Mary and Janelle larger land holdings, I was impressed by the thoughtfulness he showed me, the gentleness that never seemed to exist. Honoring Christine, who gave Kody a million opportunities in her own way, is the only thing lacking. He was unable to give her the passion she desired. Robyn was everything to him. Despite her best efforts, Kristen was unable to contain her jealousy. But she didn't go, not at that moment. Just like the others, she continued to try to get close to Kody. All of the ex-partners went through this, but Christine was the most ruthless. The status quo caused her the most discomfort since she was unable to conceal it. There is nothing secret about Christine. This kind of emotional transparency may be appreciated by many men. In fact, her new husband, David Woolley, seems to adore Christine's open and loving nature. Someone who isn't scared of a stronger personality and more vivid emotions is exactly the kind of man she needs. Christine thus suffered for love, just like the others. Knowing that she wouldn't get much romance after sunset, she worked tirelessly in the house throughout her long days and had her soul-cracking nights. Christine persisted until she was at her breaking point. One cannot continue to pour love and energy into a situation where it simply isn't returned. Thus, eventually one must look for their own pleasure. As shown above in her Instagram picture, she may benefit from a little money from the Coyote Pass sale, even if she appears to be getting along just fine on her own. Regardless of past legal issues, all of these Brown adults are equals and should, in theory, receive the same portion. In 2018, the property was bought by Kody for $880,000. Kody controlled 97% prior to altering the ownership structure before selling it. Christine handed away her part of the pittances that the other wives owned. Kody received $750,000 after the sale, while Janelle and Mary each received $375,000. That sum is substantial. Christine receives nothing. I may be mistaken, but this doesn't look correct to me. Someone who went above and above to put the family in a good place is missing. Consider how much all of that daycare, baking, cooking, and housework would have cost. It would have been quite expensive. I believe Christine deserves money as well. Even though Kody might not address this problem, she most likely deserves some money, even if it may not be feasible, and she may not want any more reminders of the deceased Coyote Pass dream or money. She may put it away for a rainy day or use it to grow her Airbnb business with David. People may not take into account Christine's feelings since she is so self-reliant, and they are correct. Watch the wedding day footage above to witness her and David's beautiful life together. But perhaps Christine looked back and felt depressed when she found out that Janelle and Mary received all that money while she received none. I'm hoping she didn't. Since life isn't always fair, Sister Wives star Christine shouldn't feel terrible about not receiving the money. Her efforts weren't insignificant, though. Quite the opposite. They were necessary. Let us know in your comments, and stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks, everyone.